Welcome to Quiet Money, a space to slow down, to think deeply about money, time, and the way we live. Here, we don't chase noise, we listen, we reflect, and we learn how wealth really works, quietly, patiently, intentionally. So take a moment to breathe. Let this video play in the background, on your TV, your headphones, or while you rest. Because the answers you seek about money rarely come from noise, they come from calm and stillness. Let's begin. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to build wealth effortlessly, not through luck, not through sudden bursts of success, but through time itself? They move quietly, they live simply, and somehow, year after year, their lives expand, not through drama, but through quiet, deliberate patience. In a world that rewards speed, the slow path feels almost invisible. We scroll past it, we underestimate it, we even resist it. But the truth is, the slow path to financial freedom is the only one that actually works. Because money, like nature, does not bloom overnight. It grows in silence, under steady hands, guided by time, discipline, and a kind of faith that cannot be rushed. We live in an age that glorifies speed, fast profits, overnight success, 10 times returns. The financial world often sounds like a race, who can make more, sooner, with less effort. Yet history tells a different story. The greatest fortunes, from Warren Buffett's investments to the quiet real estate empire of a patient landlord, all share one thing in common: time. Time is the quiet partner of wealth. It doesn't shout, it doesn't show off, but it multiplies everything it touches, slowly, invisibly, consistently. And yet, patience is the rarest currency of all. Imagine a seed buried in the soil. Nothing happens for days, then weeks. To the impatient, it looks like failure, wasted effort. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, anchoring deep before growth appears. That's how wealth grows, not in the visible moments, but in the invisible habits. Financial freedom is not built on clever tricks. It's built on consistency, on saving when no one notices, on investing when the market feels uncertain, on learning, adjusting, and quietly continuing. Most people give up because the results don't come fast enough. They chase something new, a faster path, a louder promise, and in that constant chase, they uproot their own progress. The slow path demands faith, faith in compounding, faith in habits, faith in the idea that small, consistent steps are stronger than giant leaps that can't be repeated. Compounding is more than a financial principle, it's a philosophy. It says, you don't need to be brilliant, just consistent. You don't need perfect timing, just time itself. Albert Einstein once called compounding the eighth wonder of the world, not because of numbers, but because of patience. Think of two people. One saves aggressively for 2 years, then stops. The other saves modestly for 20 years. At first, the first person seems ahead, but time, quiet, patient time, tips the scale, because compounding rewards duration more than intensity. This principle extends beyond investing. It applies to careers, businesses, even relationships. The person who learns a little every day becomes an expert without noticing. The one who improves a process each week quietly outpaces those chasing shortcuts. Wealth is not a sprint, it's an accumulation of moments that don't look like much, until they do. And that's the paradox. The faster you try to become free, the longer it usually takes. But when you slow down, align your actions with time instead of against it, freedom starts moving toward you. Patience is hard because it feels passive. We mistake speed for progress. We believe that movement must mean success. But look closely, nature moves slowly, mountains rise, rivers carve valleys, trees stretch toward the light. All progress worth keeping happens in silence. Financial freedom is not about having more, it's about needing less. It's about the calm that comes when your money works quietly in the background, not the anxiety of chasing the next opportunity. There's a reason the wealthy often seem calm. Their decisions are not driven by emotion. They don't need quick results, because their system, their patience, already guarantees them over time. The slow path requires you to trade excitement for certainty, to replace the thrill of now with the quiet joy of eventually. There's a kind of peace in that. When you stop comparing your pace to others, you start noticing your own rhythm. You realize that progress, real progress, is not a race against anyone. It's a relationship with time. And time, once respected, becomes your greatest ally. Think of a rental property. It doesn't make you rich in the first year. It demands patience, maintenance, tenants, taxes. But over years, the rent rises, the mortgage shrinks, and equity quietly builds. The same principle applies to index investing. At first, your returns are modest, almost invisible. But a decade later, those small, steady contributions become something extraordinary. The slow path is like walking through a forest, step by step, tree by tree, with no shortcut through the roots. But each step compounds. Each decision strengthens the foundation beneath your feet. The modern world distracts us from slowness. Every ad, every headline, every influencer tells you to want more, faster. But the truth is, the people who win this quiet game are those who play it longer, not louder. They understand that wealth is not about acceleration, it's about alignment. Alignment between values and spending, between patience and action, between what you think is enough and what actually fulfills you. Because financial freedom isn't a number, it's a feeling, a calm certainty that your life is no longer ruled by urgency. And that kind of freedom can't be rushed. The slow path to financial freedom often feels invisible because its progress is subtle, almost quiet. You don't wake up suddenly wealthy. You wake up slightly more stable than the day before. And that stability compounds, layer by layer, like sediment forming the base of a mountain. Most people underestimate slow growth because it doesn't come with applause. There is no audience, no dramatic moment, no cinematic rise. But the truth is, the foundations of real wealth are built in the shadows of ordinary days. When you choose to invest instead of spend, when you learn instead of escape, when you breathe instead of panic. We live in a society that sells urgency. Act fast, don't miss out, limited time only. This constant push keeps us in a state of restless acceleration, always moving, rarely arriving. But financial freedom doesn't respond to urgency. It responds to intention. And intention is slow. Consider how a river shapes stone. Not by force, not by speed, but by persistence. Each drop contributes something, even if it's too small to measure in the moment. The same is true for money. Every contribution, every decision, every moment of discipline is a drop of water against the stone of your future. Powerful not because of intensity, but because of continuity. We often think of wealth in terms of major events. A big job, a big raise, a big win. But most fortunes are built through small decisions, made consistently over years, sometimes decades. This is why the slow path is misunderstood. It requires a kind of faith that modern life rarely rewards. Faith in time, faith in patience, faith in your own ability to stay the course. And yet, this is exactly why the slow path works. When you slow down, you make better decisions. You're less reactive, less emotional, less vulnerable to impulses disguised as opportunities. Speed creates pressure. Slowness creates clarity. When you move slowly, you can actually see the landscape of your life, where your money goes, what your habits cost, who you are becoming. Money is not just a financial tool, it's a mirror. It reveals your fears, your impulses, your values. The slow path forces you to look into that mirror with patience rather than judgment. It allows you to notice the difference between wanting something and needing something, between a desire and a distraction, between progress and movement. Imagine saving just a small amount each month. At first, the growth is almost invisible. Your balance barely moves. Your life feels the same. But zoom out. Give it 5 years, 10, 20. The line begins to curve, slowly at first, then dramatically. Eventually, the growth becomes exponential, the product of time and consistency, having a quiet conversation behind the scenes. This is the moment most people never reach, because they gave up before time had a chance to do its work. The slow path is not for the impatient, it's for the intentional. It invites you to think decades ahead, not days. It asks questions like, how do I want my life to feel at 40? What kind of freedom do I want at 50? What kind of peace do I want to carry into old age? These are questions that speed doesn't allow you to ask, because speed is always looking in the opposite direction. Always forward, always urgent, always hungry. But the slow path teaches you to turn inward, to redefine wealth not as accumulation, but as alignment. Alignment between money and meaning, between time and intention, between growth and peace. There's a reason the most successful investors are calm. They don't chase, they don't panic, they don't rush. They understand something most people overlook. The world rewards consistency far more than intensity. A single brilliant decision can be destroyed by a year of impulsive ones, but a string of quiet, steady, thoughtful actions can build something extraordinary. Wealth built slowly has roots. Wealth built quickly has wings. And wings are beautiful, but they rarely stay in one place. The slow path also protects you from the emotional roller coaster that destroys most financial journeys. Because when you move slowly, you detach from the highs and lows of the moment. You stop reacting to every headline. You stop trying to outsmart the market. You stop comparing your timeline to anyone else's. Your pace becomes your power. And in that slower rhythm, something unexpected happens. You begin to feel free long before you become financially free. Because financial freedom is not just an outcome, it's a mindset, a quiet confidence that grows long before the money arrives, a sense of control, clarity, and purpose that comes from knowing you're aligned with something deeper than speed. In the end, the slow path doesn't just change your bank account, it changes your relationship with money, with time, and with yourself. It teaches you the discipline of waiting, the power of patience, and the beauty of progress that doesn't need to be loud to be loud. So maybe the real path to wealth isn't a highway, it's a slow walk, one where you learn to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. You save, not because you're afraid, but because you respect the future. You invest, not to escape your life, but to build a life that doesn't need escaping. The slow path doesn't promise excitement, it promises peace. And that's a far greater kind of wealth. Because the truth is, the race to get rich quickly is often just another form of poverty. Poverty of patience, of purpose, of perspective. In the end, the richest people are not those who rushed toward money, but those who moved slowly, steadily, with calm conviction, until money began to move for them. Take your time, let it compound, let it grow quietly, like roots beneath the soil. And one day, you'll look back and realize the slow path was never slow at all. It was simply the right pace. If this video gave you something to think about, share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you discover about yourself and your relationship with money today? This space is meant for calm reflection, a community of people who prefer wisdom over noise, so feel free to keep this playing in the background. Whenever you want to learn something new, quietly, soft pause. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy calm reflections about wealth, subscribe for more, and remember, true wealth isn't loud, it's built in silence.